morning and welcome to Rising. We've got another fantastic show for you today. It is Wednesday and this feels like it's been kind of a long week.
There was a question
already?
mark at the end of it is Wednesday.
I can't believe this week is still going.
Yeah.
It's been a long one.
We're going to have a fun show. I didn't take my ADHD medication. We're in for a good one.
Oh, all right then. Well, let's get to it. Should be exciting. So we have a bombshell report related to Hunter Biden. Newly released records show that Hunter sought State Department help while his dad was vice president. New York Times reports that Hunter, acting on behalf of a Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, you probably know it by now, requested help from the U.S. Embassy in Rome, in Italy, for a potentially lucrative business deal. Now, Hunter wrote at least one letter to the U.S. ambassador to Italy in 2016 seeking assistance for Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company where Hunter sat on the board. Now, the officials seemed uneasy with Hunter's request and wrote back, quote, "This is a Ukrainian company, and purely to protect ourselves, USG should not be actively advocating with the government of Italy without the company going through the DOC Advocacy Center." A lawyer for Hunter told the Times that Hunter's request was proper and, quote, "No meeting occurred, no project materialized, no request for anything in the U.S. was ever sought, and only an introduction in Italy was requested."
Now, these records were FOIA requested, and the Biden administration withheld them for years. The State Department records were released to the New York Times only after Joe Biden ended his 2024 re-election bid. A White House spokesman told the Times President Biden was unaware that his son was reaching out to the U.S. Embassy in Italy on behalf of Burisma while he was vice president. As a reminder, Hunter will stand trial next month on charges related to evading taxes from Burisma and other foreign businesses. It's worth noting, that Hunter has not yet been charged with violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. He may be one step closer. The act requires people to disclose when they lobby the U.S. government on behalf of foreign interests. But last week, in a court filing related to Hunter's California felony tax fraud case, prosecutors indicated they have evidence that Hunter reached out to the State Department on behalf of a different foreign client, this time a Romanian businessman who is facing corruption charges.
So we're talking about Rome and Romania.
Rome and Romania.
Different things here. There's a lot to get into, a lot to unpack. This is wild. So Hunter, while his father was vice president, Hunter, on behalf of Burisma, contacted the U.S. ambassador there in order to arrange a meeting with the governor of the Tuscany region because Burisma wanted to do some kind of business deal there. These are our ancestors, our people, right? Oh, you gotta show me the respect to build the energy company.
What would Mussolini say? The merging together of the foreign corporation in this state? What is this?
Amazing.
Global fascism.
So that sounds very corrupt. It's true that nothing came of it. Yes. Still showing some bad judgment on Hunter Biden's part. Clearly, the U.S. ambassador thought it reflected bad judgment because he wrote back to the vice president's son very frankly, this sounds sketchy, let's not. Now, the timeline of this being disclosed is also interesting. The Times had sought these kinds of records for a while. The State Department did not produce them. That could be for a variety of reasons. I've engaged with the FOIA process before. It's a nightmare. You have to have exactly the right search criteria. It costs a lot of money on you to do it. It takes time. You don't get the records you want. The New York Times, according to the story, had sued the State Department because they were dissatisfied with their responses. And now, shortly after Joe Biden drops out of seeking re-election to the presidency, oh, here you go, here are the records, which they say, the Times says, could be a coincidence. These things get scheduled, these releases, long time in advance. But even the Times notes in its story, which is a pretty good story, by the way, that will not satisfy people. The coincidence of the timing will not go unremarked upon.
It is crackhead behavior to just be like, I'll call Italy up. Let's see what they say about this deal. Also very funny of this Ukrainian energy company. Can you imagine the board discussing potentially tapping Hunter Biden for a position? Let's get the vice president's drug-addicted son to do this work with us. He'll for sure say yes, because they will do a lot of things for money.
Yeah.
And he has power. how ridiculous to just send a letter and be like, hey guys, can you help us out?
I know.
Obviously, there was some tone of this, like, I'm the vice president's son, so it's in your interest to help me out. And thank God it was flagged as something that was suspicious, because can you imagine if they played ball with him?
Yeah. I think this did not come out already. We might not have learned about this at all, I guess, if Biden had just continued running for a re-election. I know we don't know that for sure, that the timing is like, well, it doesn't matter now, so we might as well not get ourselves in legal jeopardy and actually release the records. This makes more of a case for charging Hunter Biden with violating the Foreign Registration Act. If you're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, you have to register, and he didn't. Lobbying on behalf of the Ukrainian government. Again, should point out, Donald Trump was impeached over some of his conduct relating to, for the first time, the wanting an inquiry into Biden-Ukrainian business dealings. It was a little bit more complicated than that. So this was made into a major national political issue. The president at the time was impeached over it. No evidence Joe Biden knew about what Hunter was doing, but still very bad judgment on Hunter's part. I wonder if there will not be repercussions for it. Again, we just have to keep in mind the tremendous gaslighting that went on from everyone who was defending Hunter in the media over the last few years in terms of, the laptop versus the laptop's nothing. This is all, this is a Russian plant. It's made up. Well, no, it's actually true. It reflects, there's a lot of interesting information in here. Draw your own conclusions, but it is true. The influence peddling is now so well substantiated. The idea that he tried to involve his father in his schemes is clearly substantiated, that he was trading on his father's name. Yes, I agree. There is no evidence so far that Joe Biden participated in that. He was not a willing participant. He didn't know he was calling in or who he was being introduced to at that dinner or when he appeared on the phone. But Hunter was clearly trying to rope him in to these very corrupt-seeming schemes, and he should face accountability for that. Not accountability for buying a gun when he was addicted to drugs, which is the charge he faced. That's a very silly charge compared to lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, trying to get our government to do things on behalf of his business relationship because he's connected to the vice president.
Is it a foreign government or a foreign company? Right, the Ukrainian energy company is privately owned. But I think,
Ukraine, it's.
I think that it's crazy to me that that's a thing that's legal. That you can say in the United States of America, it's okay to lobby U.S. officials on behalf of a foreign company, which sounds like corruption, but it's not. You just have to get your corruption permit, and then it's okay for you to do.
Yeah.
That's a key takeaway from this story, is that this wouldn't have been against the law if he registered as a foreign agent. Then all of this would have been okay. I think it's time for a lot of people to reconsider how our government works.
I'm not sure all of it would have been okay, but he would have protected himself from the accusation that he's corrupt. He's doing something counter to.
It definitely
US
would have tipped people off to
interests.
look into this sooner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is something Republicans will get all over this. Republicans have been holding James Comer, all these oversight committee hearings, trying to find something tangible that links Hunter, that involves Joe Biden in this, and they failed. They've not really done a tremendous job. Lots of over-promising and under-delivering. So kudos to the New York Times for getting at long last the actual documents, and from the Biden administration, now that Joe Biden is no longer seeking re-election, it was time to let us all in on the big secret. More Rising right after this.